Why do you feel like the FBI spied on Catholic Latin Mass goers?
Well, I really don't claim to have the answer for why they would do this, but I do see it as a sad symptom of a society that sounds too much more like Nazi Germany or communist Russia than the United States. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, all of those freedom issues seem to be bound up in this. And to have the FBI, it's an overused term, but I think the FBI has been weaponized to go after people who simply believe deeply in the message of Jesus Christ and believe in the truth that he's revealed. And sadly, in the nation and really in the world, even in the Catholic Church, we're having a lot of people not so sure about this truth that God has revealed through his Son, Jesus Christ. For those who are deep believers to be persecuted and investigated by the FBI, that is one of the significant arms of government and of law enforcement in our nation, is a travesty of what the FBI is about and what our nation's about. So I think it's a symptom, really, of a nation that is losing its way. She can always come back, but we've got to listen to the truth that God has revealed to us and come back to those foundation stones and not use government agencies to attack people for living the truth. If we're afraid of the truth, then we've got more to fear than any individual who may be standing for that truth.
Why do you feel like the Vatican is suppressing the Latin Mass right now?
Well, again, I don't have the answers to why, but once again, I think it's a symptom of too many in the Vatican, too many in the leadership of the Church that have forgotten the supernatural truth that is our Catholic faith. God revealed to us a truth through his Son, Jesus Christ, who is truth incarnate. Every Mass, in what we call the Novus Ordo, what we typically would say the English-speaking Mass, that's what I'm most familiar with. But every Mass, by definition, the Catholic Mass is the Eucharistic liturgy where bread and wine are brought to an altar after the Word of God is proclaimed, and that bread and wine become Jesus Christ, body and blood, soul and divinity. So whether it happens at a Latin Mass or an English Mass, whatever ritual, there are about 22 different liturgical rites in the Catholic Church. And to designate one of those, really one of the most ancient and beautiful, as something that needs to be gotten rid of, I think it shows an agenda that has lost touch with our supernatural faith. And really the main reason I refuse to implement measures to get rid of the Latin Mass is when I was a diocesan bishop, the main reason I did that was because we're talking about eliminating celebrations of Jesus Christ, his life, death, and resurrection. That's what the Mass is. The Church teaches us it's the source and the summit of what it means to be Catholic. To eliminate any of those that are valid celebrations where bread and wine, we use the word transubstantiation in the Catholic faith, that is our faith, that this simple bread and wine become our divine Lord. To say that any of those that are truly validly being celebrated need to be eliminated, something's off track. And I really see, once again, this is a symptom of a Vatican and too many leaders in the Church who have forgotten who we are. We are disciples of Jesus Christ. He's the way, the truth, and the life. When we are blessed to be in his Eucharistic presence, we should celebrate that and encourage people to come to whatever form of the Mass brings them closest to the Sacred Heart of Christ.
Do you think it's possible that the politics of people that are more traditional in the Catholic Church or Latin Mass goers that perhaps are being targeted or spied on because their values are typically more conservative, they have much larger families, things like that, they're much more pro-life, generally speaking. Do you think that could be part of it?
Oh, absolutely. The Catholic Church is and should be totally opposed to this woke agenda. And there are a lot of elements of the woke agenda. The Catholic Church should reject all of that because it's a rejection of God. It's a rejection of who we are, created in the image and likeness of God. It's a rejection of the truth that God has revealed to us through his Son, Jesus Christ. So I think the woke agenda that is capturing too many politicians and church leaders in this nation is they're threatened by those who stand for the truth and won't budge. And so their mission is to try to get rid of those who stand for the truth. It won't be accomplished any more than in Nazi Germany. They tried to eliminate it, have this one pristine Aryan race. Did it work? No, because it was based on false ideals of a broken humanity. The same thing with communism, any of these ideologies that ignore God. God is universal. God is Lord of all humanity. And that, I think, is what we forget when we get into these different paths of things like wokeism. So the Catholic Church is here to proclaim the universal truth that God has revealed to us. And so being true to being Catholic is being true to Jesus Christ, the Lord, the Son of God who established the church. And so I think it's natural that those standing for that truth are going to be seen as a threat to this agenda, just as we look to Nazi Germany or to the communist state of like Stalin. How many people died because they said no to those despotic regimes? The same thing's going to happen here, but we've got to speak against the false messages, no matter how many hearts and minds the false message captures.